Now at 9, several area residents say their trash is not getting picked up on schedule. Plus, a new memorial park opens in Oklahoma to honor veterans of World War II. And we'll check out a new outdoor music venue in Pineville, Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Anthony Saviello. We've got storms moving in tomorrow. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us with a first look at weather.
We do have some storms, and we did have a few earlier today, although mostly off in the southeastern counties. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning just outside of our area. So thankfully we're in the clear. We've got a nice little sunset going on out in Joplin, and it's going to be clear for the rest of the night. 70 degrees, so really nice evening after those storms, but tomorrow is where our main concern is. We've got a moderate threat, which is a level 4 out of 5 risk for severe storms, and that's even in the Joplin Metro, Nevada, and not to mention all of our Kansas and Oklahoma counties as well. Luckily, that's not tonight. We did have a few storms already. Most of us are out of the clear. Bentonville still getting some storms. Monette just left out of that region, some storms did, and other than that, we're clear for the night. Mostly tomorrow is going to be a pretty good day. Those storms roll in around 9 p.m., and I'll have more details for you in just a bit.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. The daughter and son-in-law of Missouri State Representative Ben Baker have been killed in Haiti. Natalie Lloyd and her husband, Davy Lloyd, were full-time missionaries in the country. Baker posted on Facebook the couple was killed by gang members in Haiti yesterday evening. The 2021 assassination of Haiti's president caused unrest in the country. At this time, it is unknown who is responsible for the deaths of the couple. Some Pittsburgh residents say their trash isn't getting picked up on time. According to those residents, Cards Recycling and Waste Management is the company responsible for the service at their homes. KOAM's Fernanda Silva spoke to some of them to understand their concerns.
We're having to put trash in the back of a truck since, we're not picked up on a regular basis.
Pittsburgh resident Michelle Ramirez says her family had to come up with strategies to deal with delayed trash pickup. She says at some point it took 3 weeks for Cards to pick up their trash, but she's not alone. Sarah Donovan is another Pittsburgh resident who says she had dealt with a similar situation. With a 10-month-old baby and lots of diapers, things got harder, according to her.
We tried to keep some of them in here because we knew the animals would get to them if we overstacked the bin, and so we kept some of them in here. And I'm telling you, my house smelled like baby poop through and through, and I was like, they better come pick up this trash because I'm about to lose it.
Donovan ended up switching companies after, according to her, trying to call the company multiple times and not getting a response by phone.
They're not accessible to get to unless you really have to work really hard.
KOAM contacted Cards. According to the company, most situations are case by case, adding if the service is delayed, customers should notify Cards.
If we do have any types of service interruption, whether it be a holiday schedule and or just a delay in service for that day, being picked up the next day or previous day, we will notify those customers to let them know that any trash that they have out, we will collect.
We contacted Cards, and they said that when they are delayed or when they're not going to pick up on the exact date, they notify the clients. They either call or send messages or emails. Is that something that you've experienced?
No, that's not true. We've never got any kind of communication from them when they haven't picked up for 2 or 3 weeks. We've got no kind of communication.
And they may be a customer who we do not have their phone number and or email address for those types of notifications, and if that's the case, we would appreciate them giving us that information so we are able to notify them of any of those types of communications.
The company also addressed concerns about extra trash placed outside of the bins.
As long as it's bagged and outside the container, we'll do everything we can to get that picked up for them.
But residents say this has not been their experiences.
If they don't pick up the trash, if we have to leave bags beside the trash can, they will not pick it up, and put it in their truck. And so then animals can get into it, and we have to pick it up, and then it has to go into the trash for the next week.
Cards is fairly new to the Pittsburgh area. They acquired Short's trash service last summer. The city of Pittsburgh says they've been receiving calls with concerns.
It's very frustrating for all of us, including me. I mean, I'm kind of a neat person. I want everything to work well and operate effectively. And so when it doesn't, it's frustrating. But right now, we have to be patient because we're really relying on other people to provide that service.
City officials are looking into establishing its own trash service as a way to address the concerns and hope to have more details before the end of the summer. In Pittsburgh, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
KOAM spoke with Cards yesterday and a few residents this morning. We've sent some follow-up questions to Cards and hope to have an update after the holiday weekend. KOAM has also heard from residents in other local cities facing the same issues with Cards. There's a new outdoor music venue in Pineville, Missouri. Kismet Concerts launched the Shine Farm, a new venue for concerts and festivals. It's located at Tall Pines Distillery in Pineville. Officials say it will initially host events for up to 5,000 people during the late spring through early fall. They hosted the first concert there today.
But we feel that this is an outdoor natural setting, and if you look at a lot of the larger outdoor venues in the market, whether you go up north or south of us, it's a lot of concrete. And we think that coming here, you're a little closer to nature and a little bit more of a boutique experience to where it's easy to get in and out. Traffic's not an issue, right off the highway.
The next scheduled concert will be Nico Moon with Mackenzie Carpenter on June 14th. Ahead of Memorial Day, many people try to find ways to honor and remember those who have served. Today, a new memorial park has opened, working to do just that. KOAM Samantha Walker has more.
Hundreds of people have come out for the first time to the Legacy of Liberty Memorial Park in Monkey Island, Oklahoma. The park features military machinery and local stories from World War II.
It's not about the equipment, it's about the people and what their dedication, about the values that they carried of honor, dedication, commitment, integrity, valor, bravery. I could go on and on.
The park was built by the Shangri-La Resort. Organizers welcomed area veterans and their families to come to the grand opening of the memorial.
This is connected to people that are right here living today, and that to me creates the human element of reality for it.
For people like Paul Bolton, the memorial hits close to home.
As a personal thing, it's special. It just makes everything tingle.
His father, John Bolton, who was a medic during World War II, helped injured soldiers while stationed in England. Now Bolton and other soldiers are honored with their stories of service on display.
I'm so proud to be a part of this and for his statue to be here, but if you look on that little monument, this little section here, this part of the exhibit was about mercy and service. And for him, being a medic was a pretty ideal thing to be able to do during the war because he could help his fellow soldiers and take care of them.
Organizers of the Memorial Park say their goal is to help future generations know the history of our nation's heroes.
That's probably the main purpose for this park. Today is great, but I'm hoping that next week, next year, 10 years from now, a generation from now, 2 generations, this is still here with the message.
Reporting in Monkey Island, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Organizers say they worked until late last night to finish the park in time. The Legacy of Liberty Memorial Park is free and open to the public. Members of the Joplin Civil Air Patrol and Colonel Travis Hoover Composite Squadron also honored a veteran today, one who served in the Civil War. They laid a wreath on the grave of Isaac Daniel of Kentucky. After the war, he and his wife settled in Cherokee County, Kansas before he passed away around 1880. Daniel's family had given up hope of finding his grave until it was recently discovered by the Jasper County Cemetery Preservation Society.
We've got about 60 hours of clearing this land because we didn't know what we would find. We didn't know where the headstones might be or where things were located. And so after we got that all cleaned up, we put out pictures on Facebook and the family said, "Where is this? We think our ancestors buried there." And when I talked to them that night, Becky said, "We never thought we'd find it in my lifetime."
Daniel served in the Union's Army, Company F, 19th Kentucky Volunteers. Coming up, food prices impacting health.
Inflation may be cooling, but it still has a tight grip on the nation. I'm Chanley Painter with a look at how it's all impacting Americans' diets. Coming up.
Inflation is still keeping a tight grip on the nation, with higher than average food prices eating a hole through many wallets. Fox News correspondent Chanley Painter takes a closer look at new research highlighting how it could be impacting people's diets.
For many Americans, trips to the grocery store can be a trying time amid ongoing inflation.
I want to ensure that I can feed the kids for a reasonable price.
It's something the latest Consumer Food Insights report from Purdue University is shining a spotlight on, with researchers studying how Americans feel about their diets.
We find 65% of consumers give them their diets really high scores, between a score of 7 and 10.
But officials say that's down about 4% from a year ago.
We have slightly fewer people telling us that their diets are thriving, slightly more people telling us that their diets are suffering relative to a year ago.
The data is leading researchers to suggest,
despite spending more, they may be making sacrifices in terms of the quantity and quality of the foods that they're purchasing.
And this could create larger gaps in people's diets. For instance, the National Institutes of Health already reports most Americans aren't eating enough fiber. For those looking for added benefits from what they consume, scientists say a growing number of shoppers are pivoting to what's called functional sodas.
A functional soda is any kind of carbonated beverage format that we add something to for the purpose usually of improving health, increase things like fiber content.
Meanwhile, in an effort to win back customers who are buying less, companies like Target and Aldi have begun lowering prices on hundreds of everyday items. I'm Chanley Painter, Fox News.
Lindsay is next with a complete look at forecast, and later, state baseball and softball tournaments continue. We'll check in on our local teams competing.
Well, we did have some storms today, but we're really looking at a severe threat tomorrow. But let's take a look outside at downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Center. We had some rain a couple of hours ago go through Joplin. Right now it's mostly clear, but like I said, we've got some storms pushing through tomorrow that will really be a severe threat. Now, we got a little bit of a glitch there, but the rest of the storms now starting to shift southeast and out of our area. We did have a storm, it's a little off, going through Bentonville and Greenfield as well. Those storms are now out of here, and we're clear for the rest of the night and tomorrow. So if you're planning on doing anything for Memorial Day weekend, it's not going to be a bad day. But we do have a level 4 out of 5 risk for severe storms. If you're in Kansas, Oklahoma, or even some counties in Missouri, Nevada, even the Joplin Metro, Carthage as well, Carl Junction, all in that level 4 out of 5 risk. And the rest of us, a level 3 out of 5 risk, still severe threat. Now, but these storms are coming in later in the evening, after about 8 p.m., maybe even 9 p.m., until early morning hours on Sunday. So most of the day still looking pretty good, but overnight hours, be prepared for storms. We're expecting a severe threat for strong winds and large hail, but we can't also rule out a tornado as well, a tornado or two. Now, this is our future track. We've got the storms pushing southeast, and rest of your day looking pretty good. A few clouds here and there, but overall pretty nice, getting up to the low 80s for a high. Saturday, 5 p.m., clouds start to roll in, and then here come some isolated thunderstorm supercells. Now, these are what we're going to see drawing that severe threat, and this is happening about 9:30 p.m. Rain may come in a little bit earlier, around 7, but that severe threat, those thunderstorms, those supercells start to move in later in the overnight hours, around 9-10 p.m., and they'll continue to push in northeast. Kansas City earlier saw most of the severe threat, but that is starting to track a little bit further south. And as we know, when we get a little bit closer to the event, we could start to see this track even further south into the Joplin Metro. Right now, just going north of it, Parsons, Nevada getting some severe weather. This is about 1:30 in the morning on Sunday, and then it'll continue to push out to east And like I said, it could continue to track south. Joplin could be in that, and then it moves off to Springfield. A few more storms pass by in the early morning hours on Sunday. If you're going up to Stockton Lake, anything like that for the Memorial Day weekend, you might be getting some rain still into the early hours on Sunday. But other than that, the rest of the weekend looking really nice. We do have an alert day set for tomorrow due to the storms coming in the evening and the overnight hours. But like I said, Sunday looking pretty good in the mid to upper 80s. Monday also lower 80s, both sunny. Not expecting any type of severe weather Sunday or Monday, just that severe threat on Saturday.
And we're going to be here as those storms roll through.
We will. Doug Hetty will also be in tomorrow for the severe weather coverage, and we'll be live streaming on YouTube, KOAM YouTube page. And just be mindful. I know everyone wants to enjoy the weekend and celebrate and, you know, be on the lake, and it's the first weekend of summer, but
got to be careful.
Yeah, we still do have severe threats, so just be mindful of that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lindsay. Today, the Missouri Trucking Association hosted the annual Safety Break Day event. The event recognizes road safety and the vital role of the trucking community. Visitors could enjoy hot dogs, beverages, and ice cream, and take the opportunity to learn about road safety.
Sit inside the seat of a semi-truck, you can notice, and it's what they're training here today, that there are certain areas where cars are passing them and we're just not aware of them at all. So those blind spots, you never want to stay in a blind spot very long. So either get around the truck or stay behind the truck.
Visitors were also able to meet with representatives from MoDOT, FedEx, and the Missouri Highway Patrol. Coming up, hitting the road for a price.
A lot of us are getting ready to travel this weekend. I'm Doug Luzader in Washington. We'll have more on the impact of rising prices just ahead.
Gas prices fell just a bit overnight, just in time for what is expected to be a very busy holiday travel weekend. But fuel is more expensive now than it was a month ago. And while the number of travelers may be up, so are most prices across the board. As Doug Luzader reports from Washington, the political blame game is already starting.
Gas prices have been relatively stable recently, but they have gone up considerably in recent years, and that has led to a lot of finger pointing around here. Whether you fly or drive, there's no holiday from high prices this year.
Well, hello, everybody.
At a massive rally late yesterday in Deep Blue, New York, former President Trump reminded supporters of the trajectory of gas prices.
We had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon, and actually times when it was much lower than that.
Trump blamed President Biden for discouraging energy development. Gas prices are actually off of their peak, but they are up considerably since Biden took office.
That is sickening.
Democrats, on the other hand, blame Trump for meeting with oil executives who they say are gouging consumers.
Instead of working to lower gas prices for Americans ahead of a busy Memorial Day weekend, big oil company executives are huddling to find ways to keep prices high and keep their profits soaring.
The AAA says about 44 million of us will travel 50 miles or more from home over the Memorial Day weekend, even as 72% of voters tell us high prices in general are affecting summer vacation plans. The White House just announced this week the release of about 42 million gallons of gas from the Northeast Reserve that the government is winding down, hoping it provides some price relief later in the summer. But the impact may be limited, and an analyst for Gas Buddy says the country will burn through that gas in just under 3 hours. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
A record number of 401k savers had balances over $1 million at the end of the first quarter this year, according to Fidelity Investments. 485,000 accounts broke the $1 million mark. That's up 15% from the 422,000 accounts reported at the end of 2023 and 43% higher than a year ago. Up next, what new research shows the source of the sun's magnetic field? Scientists say they found where the sun's magnetic field originates. If it's been a minute since your last science class, the sun has a powerful magnetic field that creates sunspots on the star's surface and unleashes solar storms such as the one that bathed much of the planet in beautiful auroras this past month. A new theory states, in contrast to previous research that assumed the sun's magnetic field originates from deep within the celestial body, the source is likely much closer to the surface. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. We'll learn more about the true meaning behind Memorial Day and why it's so important. Plus, one of the several Americans detained in the Turks and Caicos is returning home after bringing ammunition to the country.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Anthony Saviello. Memorial Day weekend marks the unofficial start of summer, but it's also a time to reflect on service members who lost their lives, something many Americans seem to be confused about. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more.
As Americans gather with friends and family this holiday weekend, it's important to remember the reason we celebrate Memorial Day.
It's an opportunity to really honor and remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Still, a new USAA survey reveals that less than half of American adults understand the true meaning of the holiday. The survey also shows 45% of respondents think an appropriate way to observe Memorial Day is to wish a veteran Happy Memorial Day and thank them for their service, a tradition reserved for Veterans Day in November.
What I would rather the American people do is fully understand that today isn't about celebrating the living. It is about honoring those who gave their life for this country.
Retired Army Major General John Richardson says the ultimate sacrifice made by more than 600,000 service members since World War I afforded us the freedom to spend Memorial Day weekend kicking off summer. But he says it's important to take the time to remember those who died.
It can be flying your flag at half-staff, visiting a national cemetery, or even your local war memorial.
One of those memorials is the USAA Poppy Wall in Washington, D.C., with one poppy, the international symbol of remembrance, representing each lost military member.
If we can remember one or two of our fellow Americans across this country, that will be impactful, especially for the Gold Star families.
A moment of silence honoring fallen service members will be held at 3 p.m. on Monday. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
The NCAA and the 5 power conferences have agreed to a settlement that paves the way for schools to pay student athletes. The agreement includes the payment of nearly $3 billion in damages to past and current athletes. Per ESPN, sources say the parties agreed to a revenue sharing plan that will allow each school to share up to $20 million per year with its athletes. In return, the athletes cannot file other antitrust suits against the NCAA. An American citizen is coming home after being held in Turks and Caicos for having loose ammunition in his luggage. He's one of 5 Americans arrested for the same reason. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the story from New York.
After more than 100 days on the island, Brian Hagerich will get to leave Turks and Caicos and return to his family in Pennsylvania. He was arrested at the airport while leaving the popular vacation destination for having some loose ammunition in his luggage. Hagerich says it was from a hunting trip and didn't know it was there. He spoke exclusively to Fox Digital Thursday, the day before his sentencing.
It's every emotion, under the sun.
Turks and Caicos has a strict law that carries a mandatory 12-year minimum prison sentence. But the judge issued a suspended sentence, and the American tourist was able to leave after paying a $6,700 fine. Hagerich is one of 5 Americans facing a similar charge. 3 of them are still on the island.
I had zero idea that those bullets were in there, and I've always considered myself to be a responsible gun owner.
Members of Congress have been pressuring the small island nation to release the Americans immediately. A delegation visited officials there to make their case.
I think they're realizing the unintended consequence and the harm that's being done to tourists.
The group has also pressured the State Department to do more. Secretary Antony Blinken took questions about it this week.
And we brought Americans home from all over the world, and it's our #1 priority.
Another one of the Americans detained on the island, Ryan Watson, has a court hearing on Tuesday. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
A bit later, saving money on a good vacation.
The summer travel season has arrived, but sky-high prices are getting in the way of people's plans. I'm Grady Trimble with Fox Business. I'll have the details coming up.
Well, we've had some rain in the area, but we are looking for a severe threat tomorrow. But let's take a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Center. We've got mostly clear skies for the rest of the night. We did have a few storms pass by, but other than that, we're looking pretty clear. It's a little ground clutter as we get into the overnight hours, but like I said, most of these storms already pushing east, and we stay clear until tomorrow evening. So if you're planning on any Memorial Day weekend plans, going out on the lake tomorrow, most of the day is looking pretty good, but we do have a level 4 out of 5 risk for severe storms about 8-9 p.m. tomorrow night and continuing into the morning hours on Sunday. But the rest of the daytime won't be affected too much. Level 4 out of 5 risk for all of the counties in Kansas, most of them in Oklahoma, and even still a few in Missouri if you're in Nevada, even the Joplin Metro. We are in that level 4 out of 5 risk from about 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. is the window, but mostly once the sun goes down, we get into the overnight hours. That's where our threat starts to really elevate. We've got strong wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour and golf ball sized hail as well. So let's take a look at the future track. Most of our storms pushed out of here already. It will be mostly sunny. We do have a few clouds pushing through, but overall looking pretty good until about 5 p.m. We start to see those clouds push in. Temperatures are in the low 80s tomorrow as well. And then we got the rain moving in ahead of those thunderstorms. Probably about 7 p.m. we'll start to see the rain showers start to push in, but the isolated thunderstorms moving in around 9:30, 10 p.m. off our northwestern counties. Those are going to continue in, and earlier today they were moving through Kansas City. Now they're tracking a little bit further south. So if we're on that trend, we're going to see this continue to push south, moving through Parsons, even hitting Joplin as well. And like I said, all modes of severe weather are expected at this time with these storms. So just be prepared. They're going to continue to push through Parsons, Nevada about 1:30 in the morning north of Joplin. But like I said, could still track south. That's when they're getting hit with those strong storms. And then we'll continue to push southeast towards Springfield. And then we've got a few showers pushing through those northeastern counties. Nevada getting hit again. It's about 7 a.m. on Sunday, but those storms continue to pass through. And then Sunday looking pretty good. We've got a high of the mid to upper 70s, even hitting 80s. And then Monday as well looking pretty good too. We've got temperatures in the 80s, sunny skies after these storms pass by Saturday night. The rest of the weekend's looking pretty good. We stay dry until Tuesday afternoon, and then we've got scattered thunderstorm chances kicking back off Wednesday through the rest of the week.
A lot of action about to happen.
Tomorrow specifically. Now, it's not going to disrupt daytime activities, but if you're traveling, just be prepared, be mindful of the severe threat because we are expecting tornadoes, hail, strong wind gusts, 75 miles per hour is
for sure
damaging. So
yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up in sports, several track and field athletes from Southeast Kansas bring home first place medals. Plus, Frontenac High School softball plays in the state championship. John Dales has the highlights from that and more coming up.
The final high school softball game for our area until the fall is a state championship. Frontenac earns a spot in 3A state title game after winning by 1 run in both the quarter and semifinals. The Raiders' opponent won each of those games by 10 runs. In Topeka, it's the Class 3A state championship between Frontenac and Silver Lake, a rematch of the 2019 title game. Bottom of the second, Abby Beeman goes right after this pitch. That ball clears the wall and then some. A long solo home run to center field puts the Raiders on top 1-0. Go to the bottom of the fourth. Crazy sequence here. This ball hit into the left center field gap. That's going to score 2 runs as Maddie Call slides in safely. Then the catcher throws the ball away into the outfield. Ella Sullivan comes home. She gets tagged out. However, damage already done. Frontenac leads 3-0. We go into the top of the 6th. The defense starts to shine. Annie Lee makes a quick throw from third to get the runner out over at first. Very next pitch, Lee ready for it again. She throws across her body to get the out once more. Raiders hold on to that 3-0 lead. In the circle, once again is Avery Johnson, and once again she steps her game up. She gets 5 strikeouts and brings her second shutout of the afternoon into the final inning. That's where we go, into the 7th, 2 outs. Frontenac still holding on to that lead, and a ground ball hit to Tenley Sullivan. She makes the flip over to first for the out, and for the 4th time in program history, Frontenac is Class 3A state champions. The Raiders win the final game of the season, 3-0.
I couldn't be more proud of our kids. Avery threw her behind off all weekend, and she had incredible defense behind her. Our bats came out hot in this championship, and there's not a more deserving group out there than these kids.
I just had to push myself. I know my body's done, but I just knew that if we got through this, we're state champs. So that's what was going through my mind. The end goal was being state champs, and that was my push.
Over in the 3A baseball tournament, Frontenac takes 3rd place, like they have all season. The Raiders come back to win this one. They trailed 4-3 in the final inning, but score the final 2 runs in the 7th. They bring home a 3rd place trophy. In the 2-1A baseball tournament, Colgan wins 3rd place as well. The Panthers dominate TMP Marion 10-0 in a game that goes just 6 innings. That's now 2 top 3 finishes for the Panther baseball team in the last 2 years. It's also state final time for Kansas High School track and field. Multiple of our local athletes from Southeast Kansas are individual state champions. We'll start with 3 individual champs from Class 4A. Labette County's Riley Bebb wins the girls' javelin throw. Then 2 teammates from Coffeyville, Dontavius Boykin and Kanan White, are state champions in triple jump and shot put. Doesn't stop there. Cherryville's Bethany Umbarger wins the 3A state title for girls high jump, and Colgan High School senior Lily Brown wins the 2A girls triple jump for the 3rd year in a row and sets the state record while doing so. That's a look at sports. Back with more news after this.
Travel demand is up significantly this summer. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble takes a look at some of the top destinations.
A record summer travel season is kicking off this Memorial Day weekend, and Americans are jumping to book their plans. New data from luxury travel network Virtuoso shows travel demand is up significantly this summer. Average booking windows are now 112 days in advance, up 10% from a year ago. That means travelers holding out in hopes of finding a deal could miss the booking window. Virtuoso's #1 worldwide destination for summer is the United States. But Europe ends up being the big winner overall for the year.
So we do see that people are staying a little bit closer to home, or we see a lot of demand for Europe. Italy ends up being our #2 destination this summer, followed by France and Spain, and then rounding out with Canada all in the top 5.
The UK, Greece, Ireland, Portugal, and Switzerland rounding out Virtuoso's top 10 for summer, but it's going to cost you to stay in those places. Hotel rates aren't coming down. Average daily rates, Virtuoso says, are currently 10% higher than they were last summer.
So what we're seeing is really almost this tale of 2 economies. You have some people who are affected by inflation, and then you have others who just aren't, who are willing to not give up their experiences, and travel is too important to them, and they are willingly paying these higher rates.
Here's a tip. If you're thinking about visiting Italy, plan a trip while the Olympics are drawing crowds to Paris. Virtuoso says bookings are down about 7% during that 3-week window in July and August. In Washington, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Coming up, we've got first looks at 2 iconic movie franchises making a big return to the screen. The world of Dexter expands, and an iconic striped suit wearing demon returns. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has those stories and more in this Hollywood Nation.
The juice is loose.
The ghost with the most is back. Dion opens up and Slater mentors in the Hollywood Nation. Christian Slater heads to the world of Dexter. The actor has joined the cast of the prequel series Dexter Original Sin for Paramount Plus with Showtime. He will star as Detective Harry Morgan, the adoptive father and mentor of young Dexter, played by Patrick Gibson. The show will center on the early days of the serial killer.
Is the sound man okay?
Today's first looks include Prime Video's I Am Celine Dion. The documentary gives a behind-the-scenes look at the iconic superstar's battle with stiff person syndrome. The Grammy-winning singer announced she was diagnosed with the neurological disorder December 2022 and had to postpone her tour. The film starts streaming June 25th.
Did you say Foley?
Eddie Murphy is back in action as Detective Axel Foley. A new trailer for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F features Murphy reprising his role, teaming up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt as his new partner. Taylor Page plays his estranged daughter and a criminal defense attorney. The trio work to uncover a conspiracy when the action comedy premieres on Netflix July 3rd.
I'm gonna make you so happy.
Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder return to the land of the dead in the official trailer for Beetlejuice. The actors reprise their roles as the strange and unusual, with Keaton as the striped suit-wearing demon and Ryder as Lydia Dietz. The long-awaited sequel centers on the Dietz family being terrorized by Beetlejuice again, after Lydia's teenage daughter Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, accidentally opens the portal to the afterlife. The mayhem arrives in theaters September 6th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of a two-toed sloth at the Oregon Zoo. Have a great night. And from all of us here at KOAM, have an even better day.